town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I need you to hear and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah, we are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in here at Ghost Racing Network to Talladega Superspeedway. Tonight, it is going to be the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series back at it. Looking like a very strong field shaping up. Got a good crowd as well shaping up on hand. I want to say hi to a couple people that we already have in the chat. Looks like Tarina Haynes is in here. So is Speedweeks 457. And everybody else that we don't see in the chat, I hope you are having a great Wednesday night. Taking a look here at Steve Korosek, one of Dale Cup's finest out on track in the 27 truck. And if I had to take a pick at who I think is going to get the pole, it's probably the same pick that I've had for the last couple of weeks, and it is going to be this 27 truck because he is bad fast when it comes to qualifying in these super speedway races. And he's going to have a couple teammates to back him up during the race tonight. But with this big field, I'm telling you, I see a couple new faces in here, and we'll see if we can maybe get a rookie winner and a new winner, most importantly. That could be really, really important for some of these guys. Steve Korosek. Let's see what he runs as we will pull the tower up with 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Just a little bit under that now left here in qualifying. And Steve, as he finishes his lap, is going to absolutely demolish the truck up into the wall. Jeremy Osborne now will take a look at the driver out of Farewell. Riding in the 41 truck. We saw him out here. Had a rough night in the Xfinity Series the other night for Tuesday Night Thunder for Ron Morris Money Racing, but he's going to try to rebound tonight, and we'll see if he can do it. He showed a lot of speed in practice last time we were here at Talladega, so we'll see if he can do it again here tonight. Kenneth Stamper currently sitting second on the board. That is one of the really drivers that we don't see as much as we used to. Kenneth used to be kind of a regular on the Money Racing, but good to see him out here, and it looks like he has not lost an edge at all. He's still running really fast. And it looks like as it sits, he is just a little bit behind your leader. In fact, I believe it's 3/100ths under the pole time. See what Jeremy Osborne can put down as this will be his lap right here. Some other notable things for the field tonight. Larry McDonald, who we see out on track, is the only McCall Motorsports driver in here. A little rare to see them all split up, but I think most of them are at the FEG PC race that is currently going on as well. So Larry's going to have to try to hold down the field. David Drohan, I believe it's Drohan, in the 42. This is a new driver. And it's always interesting because every time we get a new guy, you always wonder yourself, how fast are they going to be? Are they going to all of a sudden be that new driver that everybody's like almost, I don't want to say fears, but everybody definitely knows their name once they work into the lobby. But it looks like he must have already completed his lap because he is slowing down as he gets into turn 3 right here. But now he's starting to speed back up. You can see it all there on your dashboard in the bottom right. And I'll tell you, we had some wild stuff in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series the other night. One of the craziest things came out of the driver of Mike Davenport, who is in the race tonight. We'll talk more about him throughout the race, but disconnected on a late caution, and iRacing has a mechanism where it had the AI take over until it could actually take his car off track, and that made him drive through about 4 of the leaders, and it destroyed a bunch of their cars. Cost a couple guys a race, but if you didn't see my reaction to that one, you might want to check it out. That was a pretty funny one, but Michael was a little concerned about it. Talked to him today about it. He thinks he's got it straightened out, fixed his CPU. And here's Dylan Jones, who does have his teammate Daniel Eberhardt with him in the field tonight, as that will wrap up qualifying. White flag is in the air. Track will be closed down as we get ready to go green for a good one tonight. We'll be right back once we get trackside. Stay with us. All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's get right into your race info. It is the PGR Money Racing Intimidator Super Speedway Series. We are at one of our 2 super speedways that we usually go to, Talladega Superspeedway, the other one being Daytona International Speedway, which we might be heading to next week. It is going to be the Blaster 133. We are in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Going to be a 50-lap affair tonight. 40% fuel, which is different than what we're used to seeing. Normally been at 100%, so that's going to give these guys a challenge with pit stops to face tonight. Unlimited tires, one fast repair, and it is, as always, fixed setups. Looking a little bit more at track info. It's going to be a giant 2.65 mile, not D-shaped, but it does have a triable in the front super speedway with over 30 degrees of banking in the corners. Track temp not as hot as we saw Tuesday night, just under 100 degrees. 74 degrees outside with 43% humidity, cloudy skies, and 3 miles per hour wind. So weather not going to play any factor in how the trucks handle. But the new update that came out in May, and we'll talk about that after we get through your starting grid. Starting on the pole tonight, the guy that I kind of guessed would be here, and he knows how to do it better than any of them. It's going to be Steve Korsek for Dale Cup in the 27. Starting in second is going to be Kenneth Stamper in the 30. Third, Cody Nagels. Fourth, Brandon Broadfoot. Fifth place is going to be Jeremy Osborne. Sixth, Zachary Lima. Seventh, Michael Eden. Eighth, Larry McDonald. Row 5 is going to be made up of Danny Barnes and Curtis Rogers on the outside. Jason Main starts 11th with Jeremy Bailey to his outside. Moving back to 13th, it's Chris Justice in the 52. He has David Drowan in his outside in the 42. Daniel Eberhardt III starts 15th, and his teammate will be on his outside. That's Dylan Jones starting 16th. John Ellis Jr. 17th. It's going to be Denver Lee Turgeson starting 18th. Matt Hutchinson 19th. Robert Noble 20th. Moving back to row 11, it will be J.R. Miller and Michael Triscaro. That is a pair of Team PGR teammates. 23rd is the third of the three Team PGR teammates. It's going to be Mike Davenport. 24th will be Cole Wright. And that will be the last truck in the field tonight. So a very, very strong showing here on a Wednesday night for PGR. And that's what we love to see because it'll make this racing all that much more exciting. And how about Steve Korsek, the driver out of Cleveland, Ohio? Doesn't disappoint, does he? And he told us one day when we interviewed him, if you guys were watching that broadcast, I don't know if you remember, said, a lot of these guys are wondering, man, what's the secret? What are you doing? He said, it's real simple. You hold a steady wheel, you turn in the turns, and you keep it straight on the straightaways. So we'll see if he can do that. It's a little bit more difficult than that once these guys get under green and push comes to shove. But how about Kenneth Stamper? Looks like he's already got a couple guys rooting for him. Jack Dowell Motorsports says, let's go Stamper. Mike Eden is my boy as well. Great guy. And Michael Eden showed a lot of speed. I've seen him now in probably a handful of broadcasts that I've done, and he continues to improve in terms of qualifying speed. He likes the strategy of going to the back from what we've seen, but with this towards the front qualifying effort, we'll see if he decides maybe to go to the front early. Duck Duck Goose in the chat. Good to see you. Says, good evening, Austin. How's it going, Duck Duck? And we are getting ready to bring the fireworks to life here at Talladega Superspeedway on a Wednesday night. Pace car rolls off. Steve Korsek has the field in tow. If you're just joining in, get comfortable. It's going to be a 50-lap event. Rolling into the Geico restart zone for the first time. The green flag flies. We are racing here in the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. And this is going to be a pretty good jump for both lanes. Looks like the inside has the advantage. And there's that third Dale Cup teammate of Zachary Lima in the 4 truck. He jumps right down behind Cody Nagels and Steve Korsek. Meanwhile, on the top, Kenneth Stamper is asking anybody that he can get for help right now. He's not going to find it. In fact, the 24, Brandon Broadfoot, is going to leave him out to dry. And boy, Kenneth Stamper, everybody left him. This must mean that fuel strategy is going to play a little bit more closely than we thought. Kenneth really trying to jump in line. He's not quite going to be able to squeak in front of Curtis Rogers. If he can stay out there a little bit longer, he will get some help sooner or later, or he'll be able to drop in line potentially behind Larry McDonald. This is where maybe you let off and really get behind. But going back up front, it's still Steve Korsek, Cody Nagels, and Zachary Lima. And we know these three are very fast all together. Leading lap one, though, is going to be Steve Korsek. Like I said, I don't think we'll see his teammates or really anybody in this field making a ton of moves early on. In fact, you see just how quick everybody got single file. That is very uncharacteristic to what we're used to seeing, and that tells me that fuel is going to be a set strategy. Let's see, at 40%, we know that 75 or that 50% is probably somewhere around 16 laps, 14 to 16 laps. Do a little bit less than that, and it's going to be really close. Maybe this is a battle of guys potentially trying to make... I'm not really sure yet. We'll kind of have a better judgment, I think, of it after the first pit stop. Duck Duck says, doing good, a quiet night, hanging out. Good night for a race. Absolutely. That is why we are seeing all these guys here. And look at the push. Cody Nagel's not shying away from contact with his teammate. And these three have the chemistry to do that. But once you get further back here, Jeremy Osborne, who is currently running fourth, he is not pushing as hard right now because he knows that there's not necessarily a need to. He'll just ride back there, save himself a little fuel. Did hear a couple drivers in practice sounded pretty excited about what the trucks were feeling like. iRacing came out with a pretty big update the other day, and they added a bunch of new things. One of those things, or a couple of those things, were making different, I guess you call them setup packages for some of these series, including Xfinity trucks, etc. So they are going to push a little different, maybe drive a little different in the draft, but so far, positive reviews. The biggest thing that I've heard a lot of people excited about, and I'm also excited about, is they did bring back the 250 horsepower Gen 4 package. That's going to be an exciting one. Larry McDonald currently sitting in 8th, just inside the top 10 in the 80. One of the few Toyotas in the field tonight. And he does have a couple of Fords and a Chevy. It is outside. It looks like it is going to be Jason Maines. I believe that might have been... I'm trying to figure out who the 32 is. Again, we do have a couple new guys in here, so still getting used to some of them. But that is going to be Jeremy Bailey. And Jeremy looking to show a lot of strength here earlier. And it looks like he's got a twitch on the back of that truck. Be more than happy to give him a shout out. It looks like it says JAB Racing on Twitch, so go check him out on Twitch. JAB Racing. That is going to be Jeremy Bailey in the 32 truck, who currently runs up inside the top 10, trying to get all the way to the front. Actually third now, as he's gotten side by side with Cody Nagels in the 6th. The further you get to the front, the harder it gets to pass. Oh, and look at this. Daniel Everhart's going to get really aggressive. Splits right below the 32. Takes him 3 wide. The 32 is going to have to go all the way to the back right now. And just like that, Jeremy Bailey goes from the front to the back. And probably what's going to be half a lap. Jason Maines is pushing Dylan Jones, who's pushing his teammate Daniel Eberhardt. And they might have a chance at taking the lead here on the back stretch. That's where we see the most momentum. These guys really starting to push. I really like Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt's paint schemes. Kind of sleek, nice looking design, but more than the paint scheme, I like the job these two are doing at pushing right now. I mean, as soon as they got there, you see it with authority. Dylan Jones pushes his teammate right out to the lead. Daniel Eberhardt jumps down. That'll give that 11 truck some fresh air and move Jason Maines to the pusher on the outside line. Let's go farther and back, talk about some of these guys. See back here, unfortunately, it looks like Denver Lee Turgeson. I'm not sure if he had an issue or what, but he is not currently out on track. And as you see, Michael Triscaro. And the 34 is Michael Triscaro, who looks like doesn't have his PGR, or he has a PGR paint scheme, but not his Blaster paint scheme on tonight. Mike Davenport, on the other hand, who is running the Blaster paint scheme, runs in 22nd. But those two are not in the draft. And they're going to need a caution because they will not be able to catch it with just 2 trucks. J.R. Miller, the last of the Team PGR teammates, runs 21st. He is the last truck in the pack. Matt Hutchinson back here in the 90. And Michael Eden looks like he is going to try that same strat, fall into the back here early, and he will ride around until we get closer to the end of this race, and then he'll try to make his move. David Drohan in the 42. He's got Kenneth Stamper on his outside. How about the 19 of Cole Wright? Cole just behind the 32. Jeremy Bailey, who we saw make a charge to the front, got split 3 wide, fell back. And let's see just how chaotic it looks for some of these guys. We'll ride on board here with Zachary Lima. I mean, here you go. Look out the right side. That's all you got to see. Think about how close you are on the street. It's probably the same, if not just a little bit closer here on the track. But these guys are going a lot faster, at 150 miles an hour faster. Just little wiggles of the wheel. But you hear Zach is burping the throttle right here. He can't go full throttle because he does have a couple teammates in front of him. You cannot push the pusher, being that 4th truck in line as Lima is right now. If he were to try to push the 6 and Eagles, that would cause a bottle up and somebody would certainly go around. This is good for him though. It'll save him a little bit of fuel on the outside. They usually tend to have a little bit more throttle time, but it just depends on the stack ups as we're riding on board here now with Danny Barnes. We look out the gearbox. You see just how close the 52 of Chris Justice is riding to him. And behind him, he's going to get a little breathing room from Jeremy Bailey. 8 laps of 50 completed so far, so pit stops should be coming up within the next 5 laps. I can guarantee you that much. We'll see who is going to come down pit road first. There is a new auto fuel feature which is going to be interesting to see if some of these guys are able to use that to their advantage or if it potentially actually hurts some of these guys. Sometimes that depends. I do want to make a quick note. Don't forget, if you guys can, somebody that's out there watching, if you don't mind, let me know how the audio all sounds mixed together. The racing and my voice all sounds, it's pretty evenly matched, or if one is too loud, too quiet, and if you want to hear more of something, let me know. Up front, it's still the 90, though, of Daniel Eberhardt. Second, his teammate Dylan Jones. Third is going to be Steve Korsek. Fourth, Jason Maines. And rounding out the top 5 is Cody Nagels, with John Ellis Jr. rounding out row 3 on his outside. Just about going to be 10 laps through, so this race is flying. We've seen a lot of clean racing. What we haven't seen, though, yet is a lot of 3 wide, and that has to do with a lot of pit stops still. This race means that what we might see compared to what we're normally used to seeing is, instead of all that hard racing early, we're going to see a lot of these trucks probably get dropped out of the pack as the race goes on. And that is what we would call thinning of the herd. If you want to be there at the end, you just got to execute on your pit stops. And I know it sounds easy, but it's not. You got to make sure you get down to speed. You don't want to lock up the tires. You don't want to hit anybody. You don't want to get hit by anybody. And you got to make sure you make it into your box. And getting off pit road, you can't spin the tires. If you spin them at all, you get yourself spun around. You will have to sit on a caution for the rest of this race. Looks like Jack Dowell Motorsports and Duck Duck say it sounds good. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you for letting me know that. Dylan Jones and Jason Maines don't look like they're pushing quite as hard as we saw Dylan Jones and Daniel Eberhardt, but those two were teammates. But there's no real need to right now. Everybody's still calm. They know we're going to still have to tick off about 35 more laps before it's really time to get racy. Jason Maines running the Ryco and ChevyLiners.com paint scheme. We will try to get an in-race interview later. Hold that thought. Here we go. Pit stops. This time, let's see if everybody can get in clean. Oh, looks like Lima, he is going to get an okay. Did everybody else behind them make it in? So far, so good. We'll go a little bit of a wider camera angle. It looks like it does. And it is going to be about 10 trucks, maybe 1 or 2 more from what it looks like here, led by Steve Korsek. But who's going to win the race out of pit road? And now it'll be interesting to see how long before the rest of the field does decide to pit. Everybody just going to take fuel on this stop. No need to take tires just yet. You don't need them. We may see some guys not take them at all throughout the whole race. That is where it'll get a little interesting. But, oh, we got one still stuck on the pits. That might be Michael Triscaro. He did come in pretty far after, though. Up front, let's see if we're going to see any more pit stops this time as they work their way off turn 4. They are lined up on the bottom, so you got to assume they're coming this time. And doesn't look like up front they are, but further back we are going to see a couple more. And let's see who's going to be in this group, as it looks like it's going to be Matt Hutchinson, the 90. Just in front of him, Jeremy Bailey. It looks like the 78, J.R. Miller as well. Danny Barnes. Michael Triscaro coming back down pit road with teammate Mike Davenport. We'll keep it up front for now as we're still waiting for this group to come in. It looks like, see how this group is doing that already made their way out. They are being led by Zachary Lima. Then it's going to be Steve Korsek and Cody Nagels. The pack that's behind them is the single truck of Kenneth Stamper. Fortunately, he got stranded in about the worst spot out of that pit stop, but he's about to get some help. And we did have a couple more pit, or we will be having a couple more pit, rather. Just a matter of time, and here we go. They're going to peel off, and it looks like this is going to drag the rest of them down if they can all get in smooth. Couple lockups, but everybody gets in. And that is going to be Dylan Jones, Jason Maines, Daniel Eberhardt, John Ellis Jr., Larry McDonald, Jeremy Osborne. And that is one more truck with them. It's a little further back. I believe that is Robert Noble, and sure enough, it is in the 73 machine. And now this is where that pit cam is my favorite view, because this is where we can always see the battle out of pit road. Watch where these guys leave. Here they go, and watch for the rest of the pack to come roaring down, entering the front stretch or the tribal. And there they are. Those are the 3 leaders. Then we'll see a second pack here led by Kenneth Stamper on the bottom. And those guys are going to need to line up if they want a chance at catching this lead pack. But they are working their way through turns 1 and 2. Look for those 3 Dale Cup teammates. There they are. They should be able to go flying by, but they're not going to be able to pull away from them. So I guess I didn't technically say, but to answer your question that I did see earlier, Jack Dowell Motorsports, Kenneth Stamper, as it sits right now, is running 11th. Only down 9 spots from where he started, trying to catch his pack. Ooh, wow, that got really dicey as they all tried to split around. A couple of the guys still getting up to speed. And that pack is really going to have to line up and catch before the next pit stop, because as each pit stop happens, we're going to see more and more of a gap between each of these groups. Who has the best strategy, though? Now, it looks like we're still going to have a pretty big pack once they finish grouping up. Those 4 trucks are going to catch. Ooh, looks like Larry McDonald just not quite able to hang on the pack. It's going to be really close, actually. And no, it looks like he is just a little too far back. And then it's going to be that second big pack right now being led by Kenneth Stamper, and to the outside, it's going to be the 32 of Jeremy Bailey. But the longer this group races, the more that group up front has a chance to pull away. These guys are fighting for 9th and what will be 8th once they catch Larry McDonald. So it is a 7-truck breakaway up front with John Ellis Jr. rounding it out. Looks like there is a lap car up here. I believe it's Danny Barnes. Sure enough, it is. Danny, the only truck a lap down right now. So if a caution were to fly at this moment, he should get the lucky dog. Denver Lee Turgeson in the 44. Remember, he never made it out on track. We hate to see that. But he must have had some sort of technical difficulty. Matt Hutchinson riding by himself. Mike Davenport and Chris Justice. Another duo of trucks riding by themselves. Cole Wright, Michael Eden, Michael Triscaro with David Drowan. That's a 4-truck pack. J.R. Miller back down pit road. And then Jeremy Bailey has fallen back to back of the second pack. Looks like fun times with JC. Says, sounds good, Austin. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And Jack Dow Motorsports asks, is there a payout in this race? Absolutely there is. And that is why it is the PGR Money Racing Intimidator Super Speedway Series. I'll get those for you in just a second and read them out loud. But what I can tell you, it is a top 5 payout. Initially, it was based off a $300 payout. Or sorry, excuse me, I do apologize, a $600 payout. But of course, that does scale a little bit based on the amount of drivers that we have. And that was based on 43. And you can see it there on your scoring tower. We did have a good count. Just over half of it's going to be 24 trucks. First place was set to go home with $200. So that means first place will be going home with $111. Second place through 5th, actually, yeah. So the way the payout was set up, if we had a full field, would have been 200, 100. So 200 for first, 100 for second through 5th. With the way it's going to pan out now, first place going to be going home with $111. Second through 5th going to be going home with $55, and it was only a $15 entry fee. Pretty good profit and good field here. But now this pack is all kind of clustered back up into one, but they're running single file, and this is where it is really time to just log laps. And being at the back of this group, I think is maybe a better option, because you're going to get to save a little bit more fuel. You can go a little bit longer. And I think the biggest winners out of this is going to be Dylan Jones on back. So that would include Jason Maines, Daniel Eberhardt, and John Ellis Jr. because they did pit a couple laps later, so they'll have to take less fuel at the end of this deal. As long as they can stay with that lead pack, that should allow them to take the lead late in the run. Jason Maines in 13th, Road to Pro driver. Saw him showing a lot of strength with his son and teammate Garrett Maines the other night, the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Garrett not out here tonight. I believe he is running some officials and INS from what I've heard. And then Daniel Eberhardt, good to see him back out. We hadn't saw him in a while, reappeared on Tuesday in the RMR Money Racing Series, and here he is back in PGR's Intimidator Super Speedway Series on Wednesday. Glad to see him out. While these guys continue to tick off laps 17 of 50 through, we should be seeing our next round of pit stops somewhere between lap 20. I'm going to be conservative on this and say somewhere between lap 20 and 26. We'll see if anybody changes that around or does something potentially a little different. Cody Nagels, though, still running second. Zachary Lima first. Steve Korsak third. Dylan Jones falling off the back bumper just a little bit, and it almost looks like he would be setting up for a run. I don't think he'll be making a move this early. Matt Hutchinson is another truck that has fallen a lap down, and he is currently in the lucky dog spot as they run. Let's go back throughout the field here. Actually, hold on. Let's see what Dylan Jones is doing right here. A little bit interesting to see him falling back this far. He does have Jason Maines behind him. May have just been a little stack up, but I'm curious to see if they're lining up for a run here, potentially thinking about making a move. So we'll hold it right here before we go back. The Tail Cup teammates still looking strong. Steve Korsak did get the pole, but Zachary Lima is leading after that first pit stop. And Cody Nagels has remained in second, where he has stood quite a bit throughout this race. Dylan Jones has the run, but it looks like he's not darting out. maybe just fell back a little bit, not sure, but let's go through the field here in case anybody wants to know the running order. You see your top 7 right now as they're all running in this pack. John Ellis Jr. is, of course, the last truck that's on the lead lap in this pack. Moving back here, though, to 8th, Kenneth Stamper leads this group, which has lined up. So now we'll pay attention to the gap as it currently sits at 19.6 seconds. And it looks like it's holding pretty steady. Larry McDonald 2nd in this pack, currently in 9th. Curtis Rogers 10th. 11th is Brandon Broadfoot. Jeremy Bailey in the 32, 12th. Robert Noble 13th. Jeremy Osborne 14th. Michael Triscaro 15th. Michael Eden runs 16th. Cole Wright 17th. David Drowan 18th. Then we go back to this 2-duo truck tandem of Chris Justice and Mike Davenport. Going further back, Matt Hutchinson, who is a lap down, is just behind, actually with this lead group, tagging on to the back of it. Danny Barnes, the 2nd truck a lap down, rides by himself. J.R. Miller looks like he is involved in the 3rd pack of Michael Triscaro. Michael Eden, the 19 of 42, and then Denver Lee Turgeson, as we noted earlier, wasn't able to make it out on track due to some sort of technical difficulties. Now we see Zachary Lima complete lap 21 of 50, and I might have to go close the tour in just a minute. My roommate is playing a game, but... And I will be right back. I do apologize. We are going to show you the ad real quick, but we'll stay Ghost Racing Network side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. All right, everybody, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. You are watching the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series here with the Green Ghost on Ghost Racing Network. We did see some pit stops there while we were in our side-by-side, and it was the Dale Cup teammates to come in first. So they are committed to their strategy, and Dylan Jones is committed to a different one. And as it sits, I think it might work out better for this group. Dylan Jones, Jason Maines, Daniel Eberhardt, and John Ellis Jr. assuming that they can all stick together for the rest of this thing, because they continue to go a couple laps later than the Dale Cup boys, and by doing that, they're going to have to take less fuel on that last pit stop. But Jason Maines still pushing on the back bumper of Dylan Jones, who runs first. Daniel Eberhardt third, John Ellis Jr. fourth. Zachary Lima is fifth, sixth. Cody Nagels seventh, Steve Korsek. Matt Hutchinson runs eighth now, still on the back of that lead pack. Larry McDonald ninth. Brandon Broadfoot 10th, 11th. Jeremy Osborne 12th. Kenneth Stamper 13th is going to be Robert Noble. Keep it up front, though, here. So I think pit stops should be coming up shortly. And you know what we haven't brought up yet, but I want to, is the track map, because it is starting to get really, really spread out, and you see it there. We got guys in turn 3, coming out of turn 4. That is the leaders. Guys entering turn 3, but here we go. We're going to see pit stops now from the front group. And can they all get in clean again? Each pit stop they do does usually get a little bit sketchier as tires are getting older, but it also gives them practice. You would think that they should be able to run it smoother. And now watch the Dale Cup group, who you see, I believe, is just now entering turn 3, it looks like. And they will be making their way out of turn 4 here. Not quite yet. Here we go, out of turn 4, and we'll go to the pit camp so you can see it. That's where the race is going to be. Watch for that 3-truck group as they just now made their way into the tri-oval. There they are. And they look like they have a pretty big pack roaring up behind them. Strategy really coming into play here, as it looks like we only have 14 trucks on the lead lap as it stands right now. That will still shake up a little bit as everybody is kind of cycling through their pit stops a little bit here. But this is nothing new here. Looks like the same strategy. We'll see these guys get ahead, and we'll probably see that group before. Jason Maines, Daniel Everhart, Dylan Jones, and John Ellis Jr. just sit back right now. They don't need to worry about passing. They'll just continue to save fuel, take less and less on each stop. But as the field gets grouped together again here, this is where we could potentially see a caution if we're going to see one. The more trucks we have in one pack, the more likely they are to want to get racy. As it looks like Mike Davenport in the 52 as well of Chris Justice. Those are a couple of lap trucks, but they're going to tag right back onto this group as they would like to race for a chance at the lucky dog. Mike Davenport currently in position as he is going to go 3 wide around his teammate J.R. Miller. But that opens the bottom up to the 52. Chris Justice now going to take over that lucky dog spot. And up front, that group of 3 wasn't quite able to break away. Here comes Jason Maines. He's in the draft. And once you're in that draft, you are going all the way up. 25 laps to go, so we are officially halfway. And with us being at halfway, I'll tell you what we're going to do here. Something that we did that was pretty cool last night. We're going to go get an in-race interview here from your leader, Zachary Lima. So we will go a little bit quiet here for just a moment as we get to him. And we're going to see if we can dial him up here right now. Your current race leader, Zachary Lima. Zach, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now you're leading. Looks like you got the best view in the house. But as we see a lot of pit stops in this race, it looks like maybe you guys are going to be a little bit not as good of a situation as fuel as that group behind you. So what's going to be the game plan here, and how are you guys going to be able to beat them?
Bro, I I honestly don't know. We're going with our fuel strategy here, and we're kind of hoping for the guys to cycle with us, or our odd pit cycle. So I'm kind of just following Korosek and Cody's lead, and we're just hoping it stays green.
And it seems to be looking that way. We've seen a lot of clean racing. We haven't seen, surprisingly, really any 3 wide so far tonight. But before I let you go, I do want to ask you one more question. That's, we kind of know that Dale Cup, you guys usually split the money. And is that because that's just how important teamwork is at these plate tracks?
Yeah, man, it really is about teamwork here. And you got to keep the team happy,
All right, sounds good. We'll let you go so we don't distract you anymore. But it looks like you're starting to pull a little gap on Jason Maines right now. Keep it up.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And we'll let them get back to it. But that is your current leader in the race. The 4 truck of Zachary Lima has 2 Dale Cup teammates behind him. And you heard they are trying, they're hoping at least that their odd pit cycles kind of play out here. But it just looks like that group in the back is kind of saving right now. They're just not running all that aggressive. And looks like Duck Duck in the chat says that Turgeson gentleman, I believe he's doing race control. That could be. Michael Triscaro may have brought him in here for race control. That would make some sense why he potentially didn't make it out on track. But let's go over your top 5, and actually we'll go down to your top 10 as it runs right now, because I think anybody in the top 10 technically should be considered at a chance for the money. Zachary Lima currently runs first. We just talked to him. Second, Cody Nagels. Third, Steve Korsak. Fourth is going to be Jason Maines. Fifth, Daniel Everhart. Dylan Jones just outside the top 5 and 6. He has John Ellis Jr. behind him. Jeremy Osborne leading this second pack in 8th. He's got Kenneth Stamper on his bumper in 9th. Larry McDonald is going to be the last truck currently rounding out the top 10. Boy, I'll tell you what, this is a rough break here for Kenneth Stamper, because we saw just how much speed he had in qualifying. And he started second, pole on the outside row, but everybody just left him, kind of darted to the inside, and him not being able to get any help early on caused him to go further back in the pack, and he stayed back there then on. And during the pit stop, he was just a little bit too far back, barely lost contact with that draft. but all it takes is a little bit of a loss of contact with that lead draft, and you will fall back in an absolute hurry. We are going to see a little 3-wide action right here. Jeremy Osborne looked like he jumped to the top. Not sure if he just doesn't want to be leading anymore or what the deal is, but it looks like the 7, Danny Barnes, takes advantage. He's got the 24, Brendan Broadfoot, behind him. The 34, Michael Triscaro. Let's take a look at Michael's paint scheme real quick, because it looks like he is rocking a new one. Not the best night, though, for him to use it, as he is currently not sitting on the lead lap. In fact, he might be 2 laps down. It looks like, no, he is still a lap down. J.R. Miller is 2 laps down, though. And let's get a view. We saw he was running the blaster paint scheme last week. Looks like he got an actual custom PGR paint scheme. It's a pretty sick looking paint scheme there with the skull, the Pacey Gray Racing thing on the side. Remember, it is top 5 payout. So right now, the last person in position would be Daniel Eberhardt. And as it sits, Dylan Jones and John Ellis Jr. would be going home empty-handed. They are coming up on these 2. Actually, that is 2 lap trucks. Yep, sure enough, the 32 of Jeremy Bailey and the 65 of Curtis Rogers. And they are saving some fuel back here, because up front, the Dale Cup trio has started to pull away. And let's ride on board. And we'll actually take a look at the telemetry as well. 184 here, but let's go up to Jason Maines and see if they're actually, they might try to catch back up now. It looks like they're running 183 here, 182, 7,000 RPMs. Go up here to your leader, 186, 185. So right now, it looks like Jason should still be running at speed, but yeah, they're just pulling away up there. So I'm not sure if potentially Daniel Eberhardt, I mean, you see he's not on the bumper of Jason right now, and they're not even able to pull up to those 2 lap parts. So I gotta, my best guess right now, because let me tell you, these guys are not slow. If they want to go, they can go. I think they're just saving fuel. And this is where we start to see those strategies split up, and that's what you get when you have 40% fuel in a 50-lap race. And with the 19 laps to go, it seems like we're almost there to the finish. This is usually where we would see action start to pick up, but these guys still have at least one more pit stop. And speaking of pit stops, here we go. It's going to be the Dale Cup drivers, followed by one of the lappers, and that's Curtis Rogers. They all get in smooth. Oh, Curtis Rogers locks up. Looks like he gets 2 tires in the grass. He's able to make it back in time without any further incident. Zachary Lima is going to park it in his pit box. We'll see who wins the race out of pit road. It has seemed like out of that Dale Cup trio, Zachary Lima has been the best on and off pit road, but we'll see. Can Steve Korsek maybe steal it here? No, it looks like it is going to go to Lima again. And we'll go back up front while those 3 are getting back out and up to speed. And this is where things are going to start to get interesting. I mean, they are 2x2. They're racing up here. This probably isn't the ideal thing that Jason Maines, Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan Jones, and John Ellis Jr. wanted to see. But if they're saving fuel, they're going to continue to try to ride behind these 3 trucks. But it looks like Jeremy Bailey is going to dart off to pit road. So is the 52. 52, I thought he was going to get in there a little fast, but it looks like Chris Justice does a good job of not speeding. Mike Davenport does move to the lead truck, and I don't think Jason Maines is going to go around him. Staying behind a truck, you can save a lot of more fuel. Think about the air pushing against all these trucks, and if you have a truck out in front of you, you don't have to worry about pushing against that air as hard. Therefore, you don't have to be on the throttle as much. More fuel is saved. With the way it looks like right now, when we saw that Dale Cup group that just pit, they're going to have to pit again, but they're committed to the strategy now of just running as fast as they possibly can. And we'll see if it actually works out. Right now, the gap in front of them is 30 seconds, but they're closing that gap at a pretty rapid pace. And what they're hoping to do here is run fast enough that the fuel-saving strategy of those 4 leaders doesn't work out. And yeah, the gap has closed up in a second just in this time that I just gave you those 2 sentences. So boy, they are really laying it to them right now, but this group here is looking to only pit one more time to do that. I think they're going to have to be able to go at least 3 more laps here. The fuel window, of course, should be opening somewhere around lap 10 to go, 10 to 13 to go. That's pretty conservative. Jason Maines, you see he had to fall to the back. There's no longer a lap truck to use as a leader, and Jason Maines knows he can't be the leader he was earlier for this little group. So he's going to fall to the back. That pushes Daniel Eberhardt in front, and now you got to hope Daniel Eberhardt saves some fuel. It does look like his teammate is pushing him, but let's see if the gap continues to close up, and it is down now to 27 seconds. It was at 30 just a lap ago, so they've already closed it up 3 seconds. The quicker they can close this gap, the better off they're going to be. A little bit of man, it's going to be really close. This is what's kind of cool, though, about these races with a lot of pit stops, because they will pass that 4-truck lead pack once they do decide to pit. But then once they pit, they'll get passed again. Then it's just a matter of how close do they all come out. But these 7 are putting on a clinic nonetheless tonight. I mean, the top 7 are on the lead lap. 8th on back all the way to 23rd are a lap down or more. And they go by the lap truck to 52, and they are still closing the gap down to 25 seconds on your leader, Daniel Eberhardt. And once, well, actually maybe before, we'll see if they choose not to pit this time. We'll go through your running order. But we don't want to miss anything potentially exciting right here. Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, teammates don't think they'd make a move on each other. And Dylan maybe trying to help Daniel out with the fuel situation by pushing him so Daniel doesn't have to run as much throttle. In fact, let's look at the dashboard. 183. It's interesting because you see they're still running decent speed. But then you look at Zachary Lima, who got up to almost 190 there down the back and has it down to 22 seconds just about now. So they are absolutely flying. This front group thinking they're probably going to have to pick it up or they're not going to have a chance. They're going by now. The 42, that is also another lap truck. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Oh, no. What happened here? It looks like I saw some smoke. Matt Hutchinson, it looks like. Oh, and he just went straight to pit road. It looks like that's the only driver I see that actually crashed, and this is going to shake it all up. This is maybe, I'm not sure who wanted to see this. I'll tell you what, the rest of the field wanted to see this because they are probably all going to stay out to get the wave around and get their lap back. But let's take a look at what brought out the yellow flag. It looked like it was an incident. Oh, yeah, the 90 down in the grass in the tri-oval. Oh, he was running by himself here. Not sure what exactly happened. Looks like he's got some damage on the front and the rear. Gets down to the apron here, and it, oh, it looks like he's going to, not really sure what the 90 was doing right there. I mean, it looked like, I know it can look like a couple things here, but I'm going to give it at my best shot. Give everybody the benefit of the doubt, of course, because you got to think Matt Hutchinson not trying to do anything wrong here, of course. He may have had an issue, or maybe he just decided he wanted to retire for the night because it looked like he was slowing down or right on board with them. The thing is about it, though, here, he got in the grass too early. And when you do that, there is no grip in that grass. It'll spin the back of the truck around. Watch it here. Yeah, I mean, just barely clipped the grass when he was slowing down. Slid back up on the track, slides back down, but that was all it took for iRacing to bring out the caution. One more look at it here. TV2. And, yeah, I mean, not really much I can say on that one. As it looks like Speedweek says, dude in the chat, well, you know, I'm just here as the broadcaster, so I'll leave it up to the drivers and your interpretation back at home. I don't want to say any more than that. But that looks like Matt Hutchinson is going to retire as of right now from the race. Let's go back live and check out up front. It looks like everybody, of course, come down to pit because we are right on that fuel window. And Zachary Lima currently, actually, let's wait till they come out of pit road because this may shake things up a decent amount. And while they all do that and they're getting up, we are going to take just a quick advertisement break just so we can get set up, and we're going to get an interview from whoever is going to be leading right here, which it looks like it might be Daniel Eberhardt. So we'll be right back. Stick with us as we go Ghost Racing Network side by side. And unfortunately, it looks like we could not find any of your top 3 sitting in the PGR Discord as right now. They are probably on their own, doing their own thing, so we'll leave them alone. Don't want to accidentally bug any of these guys that don't want to be bugged right now because they got a lot going through their minds. They're going to be trying to save fuel. I'm curious to see who's all going to top off right here. I don't think it's a bad idea to do so. We'll watch it right here. Let's see who all takes that hard left turn. I mean, if you're further back, such as these Dale Cup boys, I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion. But let's see. Jeremy Osborne's going to be the first truck to lead him down. And we are going to get a couple followers. Dale Cup is actually going to stay out. So they must feel pretty confident on their fuel mileage. As we had a couple people in the chat. Funtime says intentional. Jack Dowell says fishing for a yellow maybe. And Speedweek says it looked 50-50. Yeah, maybe lol. Well, like I said, I mean, we don't, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it there. I hope that wasn't intentional and, you know, we don't know what was going on, but definitely a very interesting way to spin out going that slow by yourself in the tribal. But it's over. It's done. It happened. These guys are all going to have to change up their strategy now. In your current top 5 as it sits, it's going to be Daniel Eberhardt in first. Jason Maines second. Dylan Jones. And these guys are shuffling up. So sorry. Dylan Jones second. It's going to be Jason Maines third. It looks like John Ellis fourth. Zachary Lima fifth. But the reason it keeps shaking around so much here is because look at all the guys that are on the apron. They know it's going to be close on fuel. And they're going to get every last drop in that tank that they can right now. So it actually looks like first and second are still going to be the teammates of Daniel Eberhardt and Dylan Jones. But third and fourth is going to be John Ellis Jr. and Zachary Lima. And unless Jason Maines is going to get back in front of it, it looks like it will be Steve Korsek rounding out the top 5 with his teammate. Cody Nagels just to his outside. It's going to be a 10-lap shootout. You guys are giving me a rough time up here. He braked and downshifted, then spun it bad sportsmanship. Who just stops on the front stretch? Convinced me it wasn't intentional. I mean, hey, man, like I said, I'm just here. I'm just calling what I see. I'm trying not to make it anymore. But, you know, sometimes things happen. But I think Matt Hutchinson was, I don't know. Either way, back up front. It's going to get really crazy right here. If you're just joining in, you're watching the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series here on Ghost Racing Network with the Green Ghost. And I hope you all are enjoying the broadcast and having a good Wednesday night. We might have some more reminders and things to tell you about. You saw it there under the advertisement real quick before these guys go green. We will be over at Jimmy Crow Money Racing for the Dash for the Cash Series tomorrow night. Don't miss out on it. We usually see a lot of great racing in that series. But here we go. Pace car pulls off. Daniel Eberhardt, he knows the aggression level is about to pick up. But the good news for him is we still have only 10 trucks on the lead lap. I'm surprised more people didn't stay out and try to get the wave around. But you know what? I think that's why they stayed out. Sure enough, that would make some sense. Green flag is back out. Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan Jones leading the way. But we're going to see a lot of battling further back for the lucky dog. Steve Korsek, Cody Nagels, they all jump to the top. It'll be interesting if they try to take Dylan Jones 3 wide, or do they try to push him clear? I think if they could shuffle him. Oh, yellow flag back out. Oh, further back. Kenneth Stamper looked like he was around in the grass. Goes to the 30 truck. It doesn't. Oh, he's got some front end damage. Pretty significant. This may have been a checkup event. Looks like Robert Noble may have also been involved. He is sitting on pit road as well. Looked like he was pretty banged up in the front end. Let's take a look at it. And this is on the restart. Let's back this up a little bit more. Sometimes restarts can get a little hectic, but I'm not exactly sure. So let's see. Robert Noble is in that purple and no, that's the 52. Actually, sorry, that is going to be Robert Noble in that like pink and silver truck. Just in front of him, there's Jeremy Osborne. Let's see what happens here. Jeremy kind of goes low, jumps back high. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Wow, Jeremy Osborne. Go back and take a look at that. But, man, that looked like Jeremy just kind of came down. Let's look at it from the chopper view. And watch the 41. You see the 73. Robert Noble here is going to go high. Jeremy's kind of darting back up, and then he's going to dart back down and just drives really close into the 30. Once he gets that close, the game gives a little bit of net code between them. And that sends the 41 up into the wall, and it sends the 30 down low. The 73, Robert Noble, nowhere to go, and he gets up into the outside wall. Pretty hard contact. And, ooh, Michael Triscaro looks like he was just able to slip by right there. Does Curtis Rogers get by this? Oh, boy, you see him drifting that wheel. He is working it. I think he may have been able to sneak by. Sure enough, he does, as we see 73 slide. It looked like Jeremy Osborne, though, would... Oh, yeah, boy, I mean, he got destroyed from it. Once he got in the catch fence, or not the catch fence, but got into the wall, its truck kind of stuck. And then it flipped him around. Let's ride on board with the 41 truck here. See if we can get some more insight. I'm not really sure what exactly was going on right here, but... Boy, I'll tell you what, that is a tough break for Kenneth Stamper and Robert Noble. Not sure if Jeremy was trying to get down and get a side draft, but fortunately doing that ended up causing a little bit of net code. Took out a couple of really good trucks here tonight. They do have a faster pair, thankfully, so all these guys that were just involved in that should be able to get back out here. But they're going to have to be a lot more careful about the moves they try to make now, because if they wreck again, their night is over. Daniel Eberhardt still leading the way. That is going to give the wave around to one of these drivers. I couldn't tell who that just was. Was that Mike Davenport? It looks like, sure enough, it was. So we might add another truck to the lead lap. We'll have to see. Daniel Eberhardt, though, first. Dylan Jones, second. John Ellis Jr., third. Zachary Lima, fourth. And Steve Corset currently rounding out the top five. Jason Maines in sixth. Cody Nagel, seventh. Brandon Broadfoot, eighth. Curtis Rogers, ninth. And Mike Davenport, 10th. And currently, as it sits, the last truck on the lead lap. We'll see if anybody else gets on it. But that might have been why we saw some of the leaders stay out, even though they were pretty close on fuel, because they know if just one of them stays out, all those cars that are a lap down won't be able to get it back. Because remember, the wave round works where all the leaders pit, then everybody that's a lap down can get their lap back if they stay out. And while we're under caution, just a couple of things to throw out there. A couple ideas, and if you guys have any say on them, feel free to let me know in the chat here. Me and Bryce, of course, the owner of Ghost Racing Network, and I refer to him as the Red Ghost, but he's just the original Ghost. We were thinking about making a Discord for Ghost Racing Network, a public Discord that people could join. We'd have different events in there, different areas to post all the broadcast links, leagues that are going on, etc., etc. Bryce also threw an idea up today about potentially some Ghost Racing Network merchandise, which would be pretty cool, but not sure what the audience was looking like for it. Danny Barnes back here in 17th. And this is one of those races where it's almost hard, because normally, you know, we're able to run through the field here. All these guys, I'd be saying they've had a solid night. They have a chance. But, I mean, you see it there on your scoring tower. We only have 10 trucks rather, on the lead lap. So you really only have 10 guys with a chance at it. Mike Davenport being the last one of those trucks. And it's a top 5 payout, though, so 5 of those drivers will be going home empty-handed. But if there was a way for everybody else to get back on the lead lap, we'd have a lot more people to talk about. It's been a rough night for some of these guys. I mean, going back in the field, Matt Hutchinson looks like he was able to get it back out on track after we initially saw him tow. He does have some damage to the back end and the front left, though, of that truck. Robert Noble, we just saw involved in that last incident. He has not made his way back out on track. Jeremy Osborne looks like he is maybe retired for the night. So is Kenneth Stamper. And you have to go all the way up to Chris Justice, as he is the last truck. Still sitting on the track currently in 19th. Matt Hutchinson, though, is 7 laps down. So actually, Matt Hutchinson is the last truck on the track. But 7 laps down, no way he's going to be able to recover. Danny Barnes on down. And Danny Barnes currently runs 17th, is 2 laps down or more. And 16th to 11th is all 1 lap down. 10th to 1st on the lead lap. And they're getting ready to duke it out. It will be a 6-lap restart as the lights are off. That means we're going to go green this time. And we'll see who's going to bring home the most cash tonight. Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan Jones, they work really good together, especially when they're up front. They've been up front. In that last restart, we'll see if they can make it work again here. Steve Korsek, Cody Nagels, we saw all 3 of those Dale Cup teammates get lined up on the top last time, but this time they're going to have a Jason Maines separating them from doing that, so we'll see how they go about it. 6 laps isn't a long way to go. If we are able to make it all the way to the white flag and then they start wrecking, it won't matter. Caution will not fly. We will finish this thing up, checkers or wreckers as we usually call it. If you are just tuning in, get comfortable. Make sure you tune in here and watch these last 6 laps, because they're probably going to get pretty crazy. We've got a lot of the heavy hitters as the guys that are still up here, but a couple of guys that we haven't seen get a win just yet, such as Brandon Broadfoot, Curtis Rogers, Mike Davenport, they all would love to get one right here, right now, tonight. Steve Korsak on the apron, maybe saving a little fuel. We will ride this start from TV3 so we can see if anybody has any major checkups. But does Dylan Jones try to get down in front of his teammate, or are they going to try to control the lanes? Last time they both tried to control their respective lanes. But man, if you get 3 Dale Cup teammates or any 3 teammates from any team lined up behind you on that top, you're going to feel pretty vulnerable. We'll see what happens. Here we go into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out. 6 laps to go at Talladega. And that looked like a pretty even start. The bad news is Dylan Jones doesn't have any help just yet. Zachary Lima is still trying to catch up to the back bumper. Daniel Eberhardt in the 21, John Ellis Jr. pulling away. That's going to allow Dylan Jones to tuck in line further back. Zachary Lima, he is trying to stay out. Dylan Jones is going to make sure he jumps right up in front of that once the run is there. The 11 got a little bit of a side draft. The 4 and the 13 of Jason Maines both stacking up behind him. Here comes Cody Nagel. Zachary Lima thinking about 3 wide. No, Jason Maines is going to force it below him. Boy, and that was a move that may have caught Lima off guard just a little bit, and that's going to link up Dylan Jones and Jason Maines in the middle. They've been working pretty good tonight, but it's only 2 of them right now. We see 2 of the Dale Cup teammates followed by one of the Team PGR drivers stacking up top. And 2 trucks, usually not the fastest way to go, but we'll see if they can either get a 3rd one or how long it's going to work. Coming down to 5 laps to go. They are going to be 3 wide for the first 2 rows. Oh, looks like there may have been some contact further back, or no, maybe not. They may have just fallen back. But right now, it's just those first 2 rows really going at it. Lima and Cody Nagels are locked on. But with only 2 trucks, those guys are going to get hot a little bit quicker. They got to manage those temps for at least 4 more laps. You want to have a truck that push as hard as you can on the last lap. John Ellis Jr. and Daniel Eberhardt still looking really comfortable on the bottom. Here we go, though. Steve Korsak up to the middle. I think you're going to see him jump to the top. Sure enough, there he goes. He's going to hook up. That makes that trio of Dale Cup the strongest line right now on the top. And you can see it out of turn 4. Zachary Lima starting to get a big run. There he goes side by side now with the 11 of Dylan Jones. Is there anything they can do about it? Steve Korsak just pinned it on the right rear of Jason Maines. He is trying to side draft. Up top, Zachary Lima leads this lap, and it looks like he maybe gets clear. Does he drop down a lane? He does. And does he think about maybe dropping down one more lane right now? He's going to stick in the middle in case he has to go back up top. Larry McDonald in the 80, not on the lead lap, but still up here in the mix. Curtis Rogers on the bottom. The last person in the money spot right now, though, is Dylan Jones with 4 laps to go. But how about the job that Steve Korsak is doing to keep him and Cody Nagel still up front on that top lane? It is no easy feat to accomplish with only 2 trucks. Now they're going to start to fall back. Daniel Eberhardt's trying to get a nose back out in front out of turn 4. And the further back you go in the pack, the more disorganized it gets, but right now they are tightly packed up front, side by side, 3 wide, the 2nd and 3rd row. Here comes the 78 J.R. Miller, another truck, not on the lead lap, but he wants to help one of these guys get to a win. And everybody's starting to get a little bit tighter. I mean, you see it here, that 3rd lane could be up by the wall, but Cody Nagel, Steve Korsak, they're making sure they pin that middle lane down to the bottom. Oh, we got one on the apron, that's the 24 Brandon Broadfoot. Oh, they can't quite hold on to it further back. We got one in the wall. We got another one spinning down low. Somehow, some way they save it. Oh, now caution flies. Not sure if we had some more contact out back. It doesn't look like we did. So I'm not sure if that was an iRacing thrown caution or an admin thrown caution. Some of these guys are probably pretty glad to see it because even though they saved it, we had a couple of trucks get pretty beat up. Let's see another look at it here. And it did not start with the 32. That is just who we were currently on board with. It's going to start up here a little bit farther, and I believe it's going to be the 19 of Cole Wright. Let's see what exactly happens here. It may actually be ahead of this. Not 100% sure yet. That's what we're going to have to watch for. This is coming out of turn 2. Oh, no, this is going to start further ahead, actually, with the 52. And that is going to be Chris Justice. I think he got a bad pushback here. Yep. Oh, this looks like a case of the 78. Ooh, just gives him a big shot out of the corner. That sends him down to the 7 of Danny Barnes. Wow, that was heavy contact. Danny Barnes able to hold on to it. That big hit. I mean, that truck is totaled right now. He's limping it around, hoping for a caution. He got one as we see J.R. Miller went off track, but was also able to gather it back up. Taking another look at this from the chopper view. as JR, I think maybe just mistimed it just a little bit here. Nothing intense right here, but oh, it's going to be a stack up. I'll tell you what. You see the 80, Larry McDonald stacks up the 52 way out of the gas. He's trying to check up. J.R. Miller's not quite able to check up in time. Gets in the back of the 52. Hits him square, but it's in a bad spot out of the corner with that checkup. That sends the 52, Chris Justice, down into Danny Barnes. And he took a pretty good shot again there from Chris Justice in the back bumper. And the 78 of J.R. Miller is going to shoot down here. And I thought he was going to collect the 90 of Matt Hutchinson right here, but thankfully they're just able to squeak by, it looks like. And we will take one more shot at it right here. Watch how quick it happens here. There's the checkup. Boom, there's the shot. And there is the impact and the chaos that ensues after it. So Danny Barnes getting the worst of that, but him and J.R. Miller, if they still have one, are going to have to use a fast spare because those trucks are going to be way too damaged to just keep going. Daniel Eberhardt's still leading the way. It is going to be an overtime finish, though, now. Zachary Lima second, Cody Nagels third, John Ellis fourth, and Dylan Jones rounding out the top 5. And we can't, unfortunately, get an interview right now from Daniel Eberhardt because, as he is your leader, because unfortunately he is not in the PGR Discord. He's with his teammates right now in a different Discord, I can assume. But what we can do is go get an interview from Cody Nagels, who sits third at the moment. And we'll see what his game plan is and what he's thinking here for this final restart. We'll be right back. And we're going to see if we can dial up your current third place sitter at the moment. That's going to be Cody Nagels. Cody, you got a copy?
Yep.
Well, you're sitting up here in a pretty decent position. You got your teammates in the general vicinity. But with only 10 trucks on the lead lap, actually 11 now, what are we thinking here? Are you trying to get with your teammates, or is it just push to the front? Whoever you get with, you go with.
I'm going to do everything I can to get Zach the win. So it looks like Daniel's going to take the top. If that's the case, then Lima's got me the whole way. So it's just about getting in the money, as many teammates as we can. So I just want to be good support for Zach here.
All right, sounds good. And how is the fuel looking for you guys in general? I know it was going to be pretty close, and we didn't see you guys top off. So you're going to be able to make it if we have another overtime.
Yeah, I think we're probably good for one more. 3 gallons right now. So I'd say probably one more. The last one would be a no-go.
All right, well, hopefully it works out, and hopefully we see you or at least one of the other Dale Cup drivers in victory lane. Good luck, man, to finish this thing off.
Thank you.
And that is Cody Nagels, who's going to be starting either third or fourth. It looks like he's going to be starting third. I saw him and Lima kind of trading spots for a minute, so I wasn't 100% sure. But fuel's going to be pretty tight, I think. Guys not going to give me all their cards because they don't want anybody that's potentially listening in to know. And speaking of which, if you're just joining in, you are going to be in for a good one right here. We might see a photo finish. Each caution we get puts another truck on the lead lap. It gives a new driver a chance to win it. Larry McDonald got himself back on the lead lap with this caution that just came out. And that's why it was so important that he was up there racing in that pack, even though he wasn't on the lead lap. As if he wasn't, he may not have got the lucky dog. How about Zachary Lima's helmet here? He's got the Vegeta helmet from Dragon Ball Z. Pretty rad looking helmet. I think him, Cody, not sure if Cody has one. Cody does have a semi-custom helmet, but him and Steve have two of the funniest helmets. You see Steve there with the angry face. So it looks like the 27 has a little bit of damage on the front. Not that it's going to matter now, and I don't necessarily think it will affect him. But who is going to get it here with 11 trucks on the lead lap? 21st through 24th out. We may have one more out. I didn't quite catch it, but you can see it on your scoring tower there. And we have 12th through, it looks like 12th through 16th or 17th is currently sitting a lap down. And yep, 21st through 24th all out of the race. Here we go out of turn 4. Pace car is getting ready to pull off. We're getting ready to wave the green for hopefully the last time. Zachary Lima, I'll tell you what, he has been out in front a lot at the end of these things, but it seems like he always gets himself caught up in a wreck. Maybe tonight is his night. Daniel Eberhardt, though, him and John Ellis Jr., they've been working pretty well together. We'll see if they can maybe clear that bottom lane and drop down low. And with Daniel Eberhardt controlling the restart, he might be trying to get out in front and drop down low. We'll see what happens, but here we go. Into the trial will they go. Green flag back in the air. It's overtime here in the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Oh, boy. And that's 2 on the outside. I mean, you see it. They caught Zachary Lima so off guard. He had no shot at reading that restart. They're going to easily drop in front, but further back, maybe this plays into their cards perfectly because, look, all 3 Dale Cup teammates lined up. Daniel Eberhardt doesn't know what to do himself. He's going to have to potentially block. He jumps up. Will Lima go to the third lane? He does. Daniel Eberhardt's not able to hold it off. What a move from the Dale Cup teammates. 3 wide up top. Zachary Lima gets clear. So does Coruscant and Cody Nagels. Are you kidding me? What a pass. And Zachary Lima leads his team down to the middle and maybe the bottom line. And now at this point, can they hold him off for one more lap? Daniel Eberhardt, you better believe not. Oh, they're wrecking out back. They're wrecking, oh, hard out back. This is the big one right here. Oh, my goodness. We got a handful, maybe even a couple more involved in it. Matt Hutchinson slides. It looks like the 42, the 55, Mike Davenport. The 65, Curtis Rogers. Did Jason Maines get through it? Boy, that one got ugly. It was out back. Wasn't any of the leaders. That's why we didn't initially catch it. But, boy, once we got over to it, it was massive. And that's going to send us into a second overtime. Let's see if we can find just where this starts. As this might start potentially right around here with Jason Maines. Maybe a little bit farther up the pack, actually. John Ellis Jr. Let's see if we can get anything from this view. Oh, sure enough, this is where this whole deal is going to start. Wow, that was extraordinarily odd looking. That almost looked like in unison. Watch these 2 trucks spin at the same time, first of all. That's a little bit different. But the crazier thing about it is, we'll show you from the chopper view here. This looks like it might have been netcode between both lanes. Watch this. The 65 is starting to creep down. Maybe just, no, actually, oh, man, that's close. I take that back, though. Initially, I thought the 65 might have been creeping down, but Curtis pretty much holding his line. John Ellis getting a push from Jason Maines, slightly going up the track, but it doesn't look like he makes contact. Yo, no, he doesn't. I mean, you saw the fender going before he got there, so he gets that slight bit of netcode. That's what turns the 65. And then the 24, Brandon Broadfoot, I think he's going to netcode with the 55. Watch it up top. Does he actually make contact? He goes up, and that one might have actually been a little bit of contact, it looks like, as he saw probably the 65 spin and try to go up. He gets in the 55 of Mike Davenport, and then it's on from here. The 55 shoots straight up into that outside wall. So does the 24, Brandon Broadfoot. And then we got guys just piling. Wow, Matt Hutchinson, he came flying in there. He's going to collect the 42, the 32. And those 2 probably thought they were potentially through it. And then now just a lot of smoke. A lot of guys can't really see where they're going. The 65 sliding across the grass. But, boy, I'll tell you what, Jason Maines and Michael Eden as well. Heck of a job getting slowed up and not getting involved in it. And let's ride on board with a couple of these guys. The first one being the 32 here of Jeremy Bailey. Let's see what he looked at here as all this chaos started up. And it looked like he may have had a chance to get through it. You saw the heavens kind of part here, but then just got slammed from behind. Turned around. I believe that was when Matt Hutchinson made contact with him. Right on board with Matt Hutchinson next here in the 90. And, you know, I think this worries me when some guys do this. I know they're all fighting for the lucky dog, but we got to let off the throttle. You kind of heard the same thing from Jeremy Bailey, but it looked like Jeremy may have been able to sneak through. I'm not sure, but they both got pretty heavy damage from that one. And then let's ride on board with the 21 of John Ellis Jr. and see if it looks like netcode from his perspective as well. Back this up a little bit more. Oh, man, it's so hard to tell. It was so close. If anything, it was probably just slight contact if it wasn't netcode. That one is going to cost him. Let's go to this restart. Watch the power move from Zachary Lima. We got to ride on board with him because that was absolutely insane. He's going to get the doors blown off of him on the restart right here, and I thought they were in trouble. But you almost think maybe they planned this because right after this, him and his Dale Cup teammates are going to line up. And that Daniel Eberhardt, I think, is going to realize this once him and John Ellis Jr. get clear, and he's thinking right here, uh-oh, I got too far of a lead. And he's going to try to block, and he takes Lima almost up to the wall. Lima was able to get to that third lane before he could do it. And here you go. Oh, man, Eberhardt gave it a shot, couldn't quite do it. And big push from Steve Korsak, who was behind him. And they got clear and didn't look back. That was a very impressive new move. If we had what the ARCA series has, the Reese Sweep move of the night, that would be my vote right there. Looks like Fun Times with JC says all the mess caused by that yellow. And I gotta agree, these guys may have been finished by now. But either way, this is what it is. Here we are in overtime. Fuel is going to continue to become a concern if we continue to have these overtimes. Because the rules are if we take the white flag, we'll finish it off. However, if we get a yellow on that first lap, we'll rack them up and do it again. The pace lights are off. That means we're going green this time. But, I mean, look at how many drivers are riding the apron, trying to save every ounce of fuel that they can. The apron is the shorter way around. Now the guys will get on there. They'll coast. I mean, we can go to the cockpit view here, give you an idea. Listen, Zachary Lima doesn't even have the engine on right now. Now he shuts it back on here. He'll rev it up just a little bit to coast, stay at pace speed. Then he shuts it right back off, holds the clutch in. And that's what can happen sometimes in these fuel mileage races. Boy, I'm telling you, they've got to be getting close. If we have another overtime, I don't think that any of these front runners are going to be able to make it. I think they'll have to all come into pit. As it looks like Alex Hill must be in here. He says, go McDonald. And that would be Larry McDonald, one of his McCall Motorsports teammates that he's referring to. Larry fought, got his lap back, and he's going to have a chance at the money here. He will be starting in, actually, what happened? Oh, starting in 6th. Wow, big jump. So let's actually go over your top 5. That is probably why I didn't notice it. Zachary Lima's going to be starting 1st, Steve Korsak 2nd, Cody Nagels 3rd, Dylan Jones 4th, and Jason Maines rounding out the top 5. Larry McDonald, we said at the beginning of the broadcast, only one of the McCall Motorsports drivers out here, so no teammates tonight. But here he is, one spot out of the money. He's got a chance at it. Curtis Rogers, Daniel Eberhardt, and Cole Wright. What the heck of a night he is having so far. Saw him in some incidents, none of his causing. But he has been able to fight, stay up here inside the top 10 on the lead lap. And he's another driver that's going to have a shot at it because of it. We're back down out of 10 trucks on the lead lap, but here we go. It's going to be Lima and Korsak in the first row. Nagels and Jones in the second row. And Jason Maines and Larry McDonald in the third row. Here we go for the final time, hopefully, into the Geico restart zone. Zachary Lima sees the green flag at Talladega. Ooh, another really good restart. You see Cody Nagels is already locked on. However, that 11 at Dylan Jones, does he try to go through wide? Daniel Eberhardt, I think, must have pit for fuel because he has fallen back. Actually, maybe not. It may have been from that last incident. We'll find out, but let's keep it up front. Zachary Lima drops down, stays in front of his teammate Cody Nagels. I think he thought about going up with Steve Korsak. We'll see what he does down the backstretch. Steve Korsak now is going to get potentially a push here from Jones and Maines if they don't take him 3 wide. But boy, Steve Korsak has to feel like a sit and duck because sure enough, there they go 3 wide. It's going to be Daniel Eberhardt, that third truck. Dylan Jones the second, and leading it is going to be Jason Maines. Now we see Zachary Lima jump up to that middle lane. He's going to try to help his teammate Korsak out. John Ellis Jr. pushing on the bottom. Ooh, a little bit of contact right there, but Lima is able to take it. Jason Maines gets out in front. Is he able to drop down to the middle? It looks like it is going to be close, and sure enough, he's able to. He gets in front of Zachary Lima. White flag is in the air one more time around. And that outside is still holding strong. Oh, Jason Maines gets turned. Then the rest of the field hold on. Oh, no, Eberhardt's making more contact. They save it, but Jason Maines got turned. He's out of it. Up front, it's still Dylan Jones, and this is looking pretty good right now for Steve Korsak. Zachary Lima, they're going to jump high. Dylan Jones blocks now. He gets turned into the wall. Up along the safer barrier, we have a new leader now. It's going to be Zachary Lima. And coming into turn 3, still riding that middle lane. John Ellis Jr. now knows out front, and Daniel Eberhardt turns. Oh, my goodness. This is absolute mayhem here on the final lap. John Ellis Jr. reclaims the lead. Daniel Eberhardt in second. Cody Nagels pushing. They have one more run for the 21. And I don't know what we just witnessed. but coming to the line, Daniel Eberhardt now trying to run Cody Nagels up the track a little bit. Does the 6 have a chance? It's not going to be enough. John Ellis Jr. wins at Talladega. And boy, that was one of the most interesting last laps that I've ever seen. We just saw guy after guy get turned there, and there may be some hurt feelings and some punches thrown here on pit road. But John Ellis Jr. is not one of the guys going home disappointed tonight because he finishes first in the race. Cody Nagel second, Daniel Eberhardt third, and Jacob Emery says, wow. And I mean, I think he just summed it up for me. I almost could not believe it. We just saw different. I mean, going to be interesting interviews when we get to them. But before that, I mean, we've got to go watch from this white flag. There was so much to break down. Let's start with the one where Jason Maines gets turned here. And then we will work on from there. I think there might have been 3 or 4 different guys that ended up getting turned throughout this whole event. Let's start with Jason Maines. He's going to get a push here from Zachary Lima. And, oh man, that's close. That's hard to say. This could be 2 things here. This is Lima's trying to push him with everything he can, not trying to turn him by any means at all. I think he's trying to give Maines a big enough push. The question is here, was Maines trying to clear lower? Was the push offsetting him? I think the push was maybe just slightly offsetting Maines. And Cody was kind of trying to come up the side draft. And with that, at the same time, that's going to get the 6 hooked onto the left rear of Jason Maines. And that'll turn the 13 right around. He slides down low. Spins around a couple times. And then let's go back up front because this thing's not over just yet. Dylan Jones is now leading. And it looks like he'll get turned on the backstretch here. Let's see what happens with the 11 truck. You see, he knows he's got no help, so he's going to jump high. And it looks like he tries to block maybe just a little too late. Sometimes they say you get 1 shot at it, but not 2. But it looked like he just, maybe just a little late on the block. You see Lima gets here. Lima's going to try to dart back to the inside. And that little bit of contact sliding across the rear bumper sends the 11 into the outside wall. You see he climbs the safer barrier, almost gets upside down. And then this thing is still not over just yet. We're going to have another driver get turned here into turn 3. Daniel Eberhardt, big hit to John Ellis Jr. They keep it together right there. Then into turn 3, watch what happens here. I'm not sure initially. Daniel Eberhardt coming up the track as Zachary Lima also got a bump from his teammate Steve Korsak. So watch, as the 4 takes the shot here, it's going to get him a little bit sideways. Daniel Eberhardt's coming up the track as well right here. And the 4 might have been a little bit sideways, and once the 90 got into him, I mean, that just finished him up. That sends Lima and the rest of these guys all up into the wall. And then they almost wrecked again right here. As watch Cody Nagels probably has the cleanest truck at this point. Going to get a push. I thought he'd wait a little longer here, but he jumps right out. Doesn't waste any time. He's going to try to get a little bit of a side draft. Daniel Eberhardt makes sure to run him up as he's trying to get the side draft. And then Daniel will tuck back down and push John Ellis Jr. to the win. And that is how it shook out. Maybe not one of the craziest finishes, but definitely one of the craziest last laps that we've seen so far here in the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. And that is your margin of victory by just under a truck length. Let's go see if we got your top 3 in here because we need to talk to him about just how crazy that was. And it looks like they're not in here just yet. So while we wait on them, let's go over your finishing results here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. While we get that, and one thing that we did miss that we need to make sure we give him a chance to do here is the burnouts. I'm sure John Ellis most likely did. Nope, never mind. I take it back. Looks like he parked it. Been there, done that before, or maybe just wasn't pleased with the finish. Not sure that would necessarily be the case, though, because he brought home the victory, and a victory is a victory. Doesn't necessarily always matter how you get it. And I mean, if Cody didn't have a front damage truck right here, this may have been a lot closer than it was. Let's go over your finishing results, though. Finishing first, as you saw there, was John Ellis Jr. second. Cody Nagels third. Daniel Eberhardt fourth. Cole Wright. Wow. And there you go. The 19 we talked about him just on that last restart gets his way into the money position. And Curtis Rogers, solid run, will take the last paying position tonight. Dylan Jones finishes 6th. 7th. Larry McDonald 8th. Zachary Lima 9th. Steve Korsak 10th. Jason Maines 11th. Michael Triscaro 12th, Chris Justice. 13th, J.R. Miller. Michael Eden, 14th. Jeremy Bailey, 15th. Brendan Broadfoot finishes 16th. 17th, Mike Davenport. 18th is going to be Danny Barnes. 19th, David Drowan. 20th, Matt Hutchinson. 21st, Kenneth Stamper. 22nd, Jeremy Osborne. And rounding out the field in 23rd is Robert Noble, because Denver Lee Turgeson was a race admin, not one of the drivers. We will go check here one more time to see if we've gotten anybody in for interviews just yet. And it looks like I mean, and I feel like I'm inclined to tell anybody that's still here, Discord is going wild right now. We got all these. I don't think I've ever seen that many guys in the league chat right now. And I'm telling you, there are some very upset drivers right now, I think. I mean, they're already starting to go at it in the chat. I'm going to have myself a fun read later. But we're still looking here for John Ellis. Let's see if I can drag him in here if he doesn't mind. And I, of course, do not have dragging privileges. So I'm going to mute myself so you guys don't hear anything potentially explicit right here. And we'll be right back. All right, it looks like we have found your top three. And if you still stayed here tonight, you might be in for a good one, because we're going to try to get some insight on what the heck went wrong. We did not find Daniel Eberhardt, your third place finisher, but we did find your top two. So we'll start with second place finisher Cody Nagels. Cody, got a copy?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what, man? Let's start with you, I guess. Break down that last lap for everybody watching, because I think we're all still trying to figure it out.
So from my vantage point, the third was getting rolling, which I knew that was going to happen. Zach went up to support Steve, and I was going to hold the bottom. Well, then at the very last second, I hear, "Well, go up, and try to help us in the middle," because Jason was getting a run. And by the time it registered and I went to go do it, Jason had already took the spot he had cleared. So at that point, I was like, all right, I need to hold the bottom. But Jason, I guess, tried to clear the bottom, I think, and come across my nose. Not quite sure on that one, but at least that's what it looked like from my viewpoint. And then really it wrecked my two teammates, so I didn't have like a very good chance to win the race there at the end. So I was just side drafting as best as I could there at the end with Daniel and John, just trying to see if I could get a position there at the end. But no, it really wasn't a bad finish. It was a little bit wild, much different than the pace of the first three quarters of that race, but it was still fun.
All right, well, either way, congrats on the second place finish. Before we let you go, though, tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank you for putting on a good broadcast as always, and I want to thank my Dale Cup teammates, Steve and Zach.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your second place finisher, Cody Nagels. We will get to your first place finisher 1 second here. I got to grab him. All right, and we are now here with your winner, John Ellis Jr. John, you got a copy.
I gotcha.
Well, I don't know if that's the way you expected to win, but you did it. You got it done there at the end. What were you thinking there coming out of turn 4? Did you think you were going to win it? Did you think the 6 maybe was going to steal it?
Man, that was a wild finish that whole last lap. I was just dodging left and right, just trying to keep it clean, and I was able to. I knew I had Daniel coming behind me, so I knew I had the win locked up. I was just trying to get him second. Unfortunately, couldn't do that. But we'll take first and third. Overall, good day for us.
Well, it looks like a good day for the team, but each race I see you out here, man, you look like you've been getting faster and faster. Are we going to see you start to get some more wins here in the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series?
I hope so, man. I've been running up front every race and then get right reared pretty much every single race. So I was able to avoid that this time and ended up P1. So hopefully, I think that's a recipe right there. Just try not to get wrecked.
Sounds like a plan to me. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone that you would like to thank or shout out tonight?
Just my teammates. We were working well all night. We had the pit stops rolling. Definitely had the best strategy there. I wish it would have been able to play out without that caution on lap 37, but you know we got to the finish a different way, but it still worked out for us, so we'll take it.
All right, sounds good. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner tonight, John Ellis Jr. in the 21 truck. And John is going to see if he can get Daniel in here real quick for us, your third place finisher. And if we can get him, we'll talk to him. So we'll give him here just about another minute. But boy, I'll tell you what, the Discord is blowing up. We got some guys. I don't think I've ever seen myself get that many private messages that quick. But looks like we do have Daniel Eberhardt in here now. Daniel Eberhardt, your third place finisher. Daniel, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, I'm gonna have to hear it now from your point of view. What in the heck? Describe me that last lap through your vantage point.
All hell broke loose right there, buddy. That's all I got to say about that one. I didn't mean to come down into Lima. We were coming down the front straightaway there, and when Mains got turned, I don't know. I'm looking back. I've been looking back at it. It was between Neagles and Lima when Mains got turned, and I thought when he got turned, I saw it out of my left screen that he was gonna go low, and he didn't. So I just turned hard left, and I was like, "Oh, junk! I'm dooring him," and then it screwed me. I thought I was out. And then old Dylan Jones, you block, you pay, buddy, and he blocked it. He got paid. And then we went off into 3 and 4 there, and my offset was off. I was turning to the right, and I was trying to wheel it down, and I went up the track a little bit. And I guess when we hit, he got hit at the same time from his back bumper, and it just sent him spinning like a top, like it was almost like net code. But I'm sorry to them guys. They got caught up in that mess. I felt like it was a little bit of dirty racing going on between that group. I don't understand why we ain't never done anything to him. But going back and listening to your call saying Daniel just turned him. No, I didn't turn him. I lost talent.
Well, real quick, because I want to clear it up because it seems like I do have a couple people that get mad at me for it. I wasn't trying to accuse you of it, Daniel. Just in the heat of the moment, if I see a truck come down, I'm just going to say that person turned him, as it looked like Dylan Jones got turned as well. But I do apologize for it. Either way, though,
Hey.
solid run. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out tonight?
Hey, I don't care. You make it exciting for the fans. Look at Matthew Baker in the old Discord chat. He's like, "I love you, Daniel. Great teammate." Hey, you got to give the something for the people to watch, and that's what they come here for. But no, all in all, I got to thank the team, Ryko Performance and Dylan Jones for all the help tonight. It didn't work out for us, and that's part of this racing. I feel bad that group, the Neagles and Lima and I don't know how to say Steve. I feel bad that we couldn't have finished like that and just raced it out. I mean, they had it done perfect. I mean, I understand that Mains dropped down in front of them, but you can still make another move. We don't have to just wreck each other like that. So you hate to see it, but that's what this money does. It puts people in tight positions, and people don't want to lose some, and you got to be willing to lose some. So it sucks, but that's part of it, and we'll come back to the next one. Hey,
all right.
Thank you for everything you do, Austin. Don't you forget that.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for talking to us, and hopefully we'll see you out here next week. That is your third place finisher, Daniel Eberhardt in the 90 truck. And just before we let everybody go, a couple quick reminders here. The first one is we'll take the scoring down And definitely, like I said, weren't trying to accuse Daniel there. I hope he wasn't taking it that way. You know, in the heat of the moment, I just saw the 90 come down. I mean, I couldn't see exactly what caused everything. I just saw contact with him in the rear of somebody else's truck. So, I mean, that looks like a turn to me. But glad that Daniel's one of the drivers that's not scared to say what he's thinking. And you heard it there. He said it seemed like some dirty racing. And Daniel's one of the best guys out here. So if he's telling you how it is, then that's how it is. And we'll see if we can improve on it next week, the racing that is. But don't forget, tomorrow, Ghost Racing Network heads over to the Dash for the Cash Series presented by Jimmy Crow Money Racing. That race is going to start at 10:05, a little bit later. I did not even realize that, but we're getting excited for it. Hopefully everybody did enjoy the broadcast tonight. What a crazy last lap here at Talladega and PGR Money Racing. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.